All right, Shalom. This is Harawan Ban Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. Want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Harakakodash, Ma'amath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Just want to do this quick lesson on this topic dealing with the chariots, man. All right, what they call UFOs, or during the time of World War II, they had a term called Foo Fighters. All right, I think it's a rock band out there called Foo Fighters, but they had a term called Foo Fighters, and Foo Fighter represents the chariots, man. All right, that's a term they use for what they call fireballs in the sky, man, that was chasing down their planes and their aircraft, and doing all kind of different type of unknown maneuvers in the military field, all right, as far as aircraft. But the picture you're looking at, that's a real photograph from World War II, all right, that the pilots took. And it was so, at that time, that, they didn't have social media, they didn't have all these things, man, and the news so quick. Now they had, so what they had to literally go back and look at the photos and investigate them to see these chariots that the pilots were describing. All right, they had to go back and examine the photos, and that's when they saw that these things were true. Because at that time you had Hollywood kicking off, trying to blind our people, pushing the idea of aliens, green aliens and shit. All right. Going into the 60s. Now you have, because what's inside of the chariots, what Esau calls UFOs, or unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? Or they call Foo Fighters, were really chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And they have angels inside of them. All right. All right. See here, you got the planes, but then you got all these chariots around them. See that? So the Most High was controlling our whole situation. And the angels couldn't do anything because the Most High didn't commission it. All right. If the Most High would have said destroy, they would have destroyed everything in sight. But they're doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, bringing all these things to pass, controlling things, man. All right. Bringing Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's will to pass. And that goes with Revelation 7. He said, hurt not the earth for the seed till he has sealed his elect in their foreheads. And that's in these times. All right. Because if the Lord wanted to, he'll send the angels right now to destroy everything. But instead, he has them what? This is Amos 9:8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom. So the eyes of the Lord are his angels. All right. And his elect. They're the eyes of the Lord. And his own eyes are upon the sinful kingdom. He says, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. Right? He's going to destroy this place off the face of the earth. This wicked kingdom that's on this earth in America. Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahweh, right? So he's going to sift the house of Israel. And that's the only reason, according to Revelation 7, that the Lord didn't destroy everything yet. All right, according to the prophecies. All right. This image here, man, this is real captivating. All right. See in the background, it look like somebody sitting there in the chariot. Just like the scriptures say, you can see the angels in the chariots. All right. So they're doing all type of different maneuvers and following, stalking techniques and vanishing and disappearing and blinding, all kind of different things, man. But they weren't destroying anything. They weren't they would never attack from America all the way over to Europe. They would never attack. They called them kraut fireballs over there in Europe, and over in America they called them Foo Fighters. And then later they added the term flying saucers. All right, when one of the pilots described it looking like a saucer. All right, this one right here, man, sent chills through my spirit, man, because I was looking at it, and I know you probably see it right here. You know, just hey, man, you just never know. World War II, you see the chariots, of course, but that's not what catches my eye. It look like an ear. You see the eyes, it's like an eye. The hair, beard, nose, 2 eyeballs, cheekbones, forehead, brow bone. Right there, man. So that could be Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, or Yahweh, I mean. All right. Hey, not to get on into that, but yeah, the chariots right here, it's just something that caught my eye. Who knows, man? That was World War II, and you never know what those cameras picked up or what Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai allowed the cameras to see. All right. But it's clearly something there. Right here, you can see the outline of it right here. See the outline going all the way around. All right. And Yahweh's in the midst, sitting on the throne, on the firmament. All right. It says Foo Fighter. The term Foo Fighter was used by Allied aircraft pilots, people like America, the Allies versus the Axis countries. And the Axis countries were led by Germany. All right. Allied aircraft pilots in World War II to describe various UFOs or chariots. All right. The word UFO means unidentified, but we can identify it according to the scriptures. Or mysterious aerial phenomena. And just like today, they call it mysterious aerial phenomena. All right. When they see them now, I mean, they're doing all types of different maneuvers that they never seen before. It says seen in the skies over both the European and Pacific theaters of operations. So the Lord was monitoring the Dragon, NATO, and America. Though Foo Fighter initially described a type of UFO reported and named by U.S. 415th Night Fighter Squadron, so they would see them at night. The term was also commonly used to mean any UFO sighting from that period, just from that time period. All right, it was a famous word Esau was using. All right, formerly reported from November 1944 onwards, witnesses often assumed that the Foo Fighters were secret weapons employed by the enemy. So they thought that was Germany, like right here. So Germany was playing off of that, and they would make America think that it was or these other countries think that it was their crafts, but it was really chariots doing those maneuvers.
During World War II, U.S. Army air fighters saw perfectly circular orange balls of light coming in at incredibly high speeds, exceeding 250 miles per hour. Eventually, an officer nicknamed the bizarre phenomenon after a line from the comic strip Smokey Stover. Where there's a foo, there's fire. And the strange lights were known as Foo Fighters. They were undetectable on radars and impossibly fast. They became so common that newspapers, including the New York Times, reported their existence. But there was never an explanation on what they were.
You see it said, run it back.
Were they? Discover the section on what they were.
What it says balls of fire stalk U.S. fighters in night assaults over Germany. The night squadron. All right, so those chariots were stalking them. They call them fire. All right, and that's scriptural, man. They know the chariots are out there.
What were they? Discover the secret truths of the 37th parallel. My name's Ben Mesrick. November 1944. One of the early interesting Foo Fighter reports comes from the 415th Night Fighter Squadron. They're flying missions over northeastern France. That's not far from Germany. And this is still in Nazi-occupied part of France, where you've got a number of lights, 8, 10, 12 lights coming in on the left.
Notice he said 12 lights, 12 tribes of Israel.
Of the aircraft group that are apparently maneuvering in a very unusual way, and then just take off at a very high rate of speed. This type of thing was reported many times.
The pilots often described these.
It says ball of fire races beside U.S. planes.
Objects were sort of fuzzy lights. It could be a plasma light that would come up from the ground towards the airplane. And we know that now because there have been reinvestigations of all the fires. At the time, of course, there was no Air Force. It was the Army Air Force. They were taking reports from pilots very, very seriously. Because if there was a new German weapon, all the pilots needed to know about it, and they needed to think about evasive action.
These objects were called different things at the time before they got a name, and the name that stuck was Foo Fighters. And it comes from a comic strip that was popular at the time called Smokey Stover. And he had a saying, which was, where there's a foo, there's fire. The U.S. government has never offered an explanation for the Foo Fighters. We know that the OSS, which was the precursor of the CIA, investigated. We know that British intelligence investigated this, and we...
Nobody else.
My father would refer to the Foo...
All right, Revelations 9 and 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, right? So after World War I, you had World War II. And now World War II never really fully ended, man. They were just peace treaties. And now those peace treaties are broken. And you have World War III kicking in. All right? So it's all being controlled by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. He's showing us that he got everything. Just like in those times, he sent the chariots to monitor. And these times, he's sending the chariots to deliver. All right. So it says Revelations 11 and 14. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that's after the missiles hit. All right. In the midst of it, it's going to be World War III. All right. Let me get this right here real quick. It says the first sightings occurred. Let me make sure. So the first sightings occurred in November 1944 when pilots flying over Western Europe by night reported seeing fast-moving, round-glowing objects following their aircraft, man. So that was after 1944, and the war ended around 1945. And then from then on, you had in 1955, America really kicking it off with NATO, and in 1951. And then they were giving a mouth speaking great things and wickedness and blasphemies, where they put in God we trust on the dollar and so on and so on. Right? And now the word has been pushed from that time with Abba Bivens. And now we're here today, man, going into World War III. All right. What seems long to man is short to the Most High, man. All right. 1,000 years is a day to the Lord. It says, when pilots flying over Western Europe, not Eastern Europe, which would be like Russia, it was over Western Europe, all those elite banking countries, by night reported seeing fast-moving, round, glowing objects following their aircraft. The objects were variously described as fiery. Fiery. So imagine seeing that in biblical times. You would say the same thing. It was like fire. It says, and glowing red, white, or orange. So they were different colors, like amber, like the scripture speak of in Ezekiel. All right. Let me get this real quick. All right, because the same thing the Lord led us out of Egypt with, He's gonna have those same chariots over us for deliverance. Isaiah 4 and 5. And Yahweh will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies, a cloud and a smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. All right, so that defense is going to be them chariots. When the Lord give his angels charge over thee, he's never going to take that charge away. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and for a place of refuge, for a covert from storm and from rain. This is Psalms 91. And I'm gonna start from 1. And he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's under his protection, his covering. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress. All right, that's what it just said. It's going to be their house, the covering, protection, covert. My power, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, the traps of Esau, and from the noisome pestilence, right? Surely he shall do it, man. He's going to deliver us before the last trump, the seventh trump. All right. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust, man. So his feathers represent what? The angels, and the wings represent the chariots. Shalt thou trust, his truth shall be thy shield and buckler, man. That's going to be our confidence. That's going to be our what? Our defense. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fly by noonday. All right, so martial law, civil wars, and the arrow represents what? The missiles. So we're not going to be afraid of that. The Lord said at destruction of family, we're going to laugh. All right. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to show his elect and give them that confidence, that faith. Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. All right. So that's invading of one another. All these different civil wars that's going to break out. And the destruction that wasteth at the climax of all of that, and in the midst of a collapse of an economy, of a kingdom, and World War III breaking out. All right. At the peak of all of that chaos is going to end with destruction that wasteth at noonday. That's the wind that the angels are holding back by the command of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Psalms 91 and 7. That's why he says, surely they shall deliver thee, right, from the snare of the fowler. And he sent them during the times of World War I, World War II. And now they started getting cameras and film. And now it's been documented. And even today we're seeing chariots popping up because he's ready to come get us. All right. And bring judgment. Psalms 91 and 7. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. All right. Why? This is why. So you get in the midst of the chaos and all up to being taken up into those chariots. He said, 1,000 gonna fall at thy side. It says, because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High thy habitation, right? Tabernacle. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Right? Pestilence, plagues. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. So he's going to give his angels charge over us to protect us. Same angel that was showing up in World War II. Exodus 13 and 21. And the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, right? There's angels in those clouds, those chariots. All right. And by night and a pillar of fire. So they would light up at night, and then at the daytime it would be a covering. All right, from the sun, from the rain, in the day or night, to give light to them, to give them light to go by day and night, man. All right. So that's the Lord had giant chariots over us, man. And in it, he had the angels, and Yahushua was in it. All right. And he said the angel turned the chariot and blocked off Pharaoh's men, his army. And it said Yahushua, it said the Lord looked through the chariot out at the army. So he was in there. He says he went before them. So he was in it. All right. And that was Yahushua. It says 22, he took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. All right. So even today, he's not going to take it away. That's our deliverance. This is Luke 21:28. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. All right. When we start seeing the signs come to pass, that let us know what age or what time we're in. All right. If we'd have been looking at Yahushua on the earth, we'd have known that he was about to be crucified. And the mystery of iniquity was working. And you had the falling away that was going to happen in 70 AD. But now he's saying, what, you're going to see all these signs happen upon the earth: earthquakes, civil wars. We're going to be scattered around the four corners of the earth. The RFID chip going to be pushed. World War III going to be breaking out. The second will pass. There's 3 wars, man. You know what I mean? It could have been 8 wars, but it's 3. Right? It's accurate with the scriptures. So we're going into the 3rd World War. All right, which is the final war, the war of all wars, where the Lord's going to bring about his judgment upon the earth. All right. So in the midst of this, we're supposed to look up, because the Lord going to send them same chariots. This is Malachi 4:2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings. All right, look at them wings again, the chariots. Spoken of in Ezekiel. All right. And Psalms 91. And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stall of the stall. And calves represent youth being renewed or reborn, having new bodies, and grow up and starting over. All right, taken care of. And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh, power of hosts, of armies, man. And that goes along with Psalms 91. All right. So he's going to rise with healing in his wings, man. With them chariots. By the time you get to them chariots, you're going to have a new body. It's the same chariots you're looking at in the pictures. You'll see them on the media today. Internet. All right. It says the objects were variously described as fiery and glowing red, white, or orange. Some pilots described them as resembling tree lights, and reported that and it was a chariot over Israel one time before, and it looked just like that, like a giant ornament in the sky. It says lights. It said reported that they seemed to toy with the aircrafts. So the chariots was toying around with the aircrafts, man. All right, we say this all the time. The chariots be toying around with the aircrafts, making wild turns before simply vanishing. Whew. Like apparitions, man. All right. Same one that Antiochus was seeing. He was seeing apparitions. All right. This is 2 Maccabees 5:1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. And this was around 170 BC or 169 BC. All right. When he was taking his second voyage into set up Ptolemy, I think it was the 5th or the 8th. He set him up in Cleopatra as rulers instead of Ptolemy the 4th. All right, they removed him. So it says, and this is right before they came and took down Jerusalem, right? Desecrated Jerusalem. So the Lord sent angels at that time as well. It says, and then it happened that through all the cities, so right before Jacob's trouble in that time, the Lord sent angels. So right before Jacob's trouble in these times, the Lord sent the angels. All right, and in World War II. And then it happened that through all the city for a space of almost 40 days, all right, that there were seen horsemen. If you have a horse, horse represent power, so it was powerful aircrafts in the sky, and they had riders upon them, running in the air in cloth of gold and armed with lances, like a band of soldiers, man. They was riding in battle formation, in V formation, all right? Running in the air, man. It was all over the place, moving around and doing different type of maneuvers that Esau never seen before, all right? And they didn't have planes at that time, all right? So it said the troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another. And that goes with Ezekiel chapter 1. All right. And with the description that those pilots were given, he said they were toying around with the fighter jets, and they were doing all these crazy maneuvers with shaking of shields and multitude of pikes and drawing of swords and casting of darts and glittering of golden ornaments and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that the apparition might turn to good. So the apparition, it was like almost like ghostly. When they saw them chariots in the stratosphere, which is above the clouds, which is like the air highway for vehicles, aircrafts, which is called the stratosphere, right above the clouds. All right, and it has a 6,000 mile per hour jet stream, I think it is. I can't remember. All right. 500 miles per hour. I can't remember, man. Fast as a hurricane, way faster than a hurricane. But it's a jet stream. And that's where they were seeing these chariots at. All right. When you go up into a plane and you're looking at the top of the clouds, you're in the stratosphere. All right. It says, however, they could not be outmaneuvered or shot down. Let me read up a little bit more. Pilots and air crew reported that the objects flew formation with their aircrafts and behaved as if they were under intelligent control, man. They were being controlled by angels. All right. But never displayed hostile behavior, right? They didn't need to. All right. When you got the control, you don't need to do all that. See, what Jake and Esau displays is that they're out of control, that they have no control. All right. That's why everybody's radical and prideful. That's why the Lord said pride is not made for man. But anyway, so it says, but never displayed hostile behavior, right? Because the Lord didn't give them the command to. This is Revelation 7:2. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. Having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, the generals, the archangels over the other angels. All right. Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. So that's what they're waiting on. All right. And the Lord holds them back and sends them as he pleases to bring about his will. It says, however, they could not be outmaneuvered or shot down. They couldn't be outmaneuvered. and they couldn't be shot down, man. So when the Lord send them to destroy and to go to war, because there's going to be war in heaven. All right, this is Revelations 12:7, and this is about to happen when the Lord gives them the green light. All right, don't hold back anymore. When he sends his angels to deliver and to destroy, he's going to send them with healing in his wings. And also he said, what? He's going to send it into the house of the thief. That's America and all over the four corners of the earth. And right, and it says what? Revelations 12:7. And there was war in heaven. All right, so there's gonna be war in the skies, and then what you call the exosphere, where they have the satellites and the space stations. All right, and in the skies, you know, and in the stratosphere, that's called the Shemayim. All right, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. It's crazy. So that lets you know that Michael's an archangel, a general over the angels under Yahweh Shai. All right. These all keep pacing around my goddamn car, man. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. All right. So when that time comes, when the Lord sends his angels, you got to remember, they can't be outmaneuvered and they can't be shot down. So when Esau tries to go to war with them, they're fighting the losing battle. It says, and the great dragon was cast out, all right, the European Union. See that? Over there in Europe. That old serpent called the devil, talking about Esau, and Satan, the adversary, the enemy, that rules the whole world right now, which deceived the whole world. See, they use it through their deception. They deceive and control the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right. It says, the phenomenon, it says, however, they could not be outmaneuvered or shot down. The phenomenon was so widespread that the lights earned a name in the European theater of operations. See, it said the dragon. So that's the focus. All right. In America, theater of operations that were often called kraut fireballs. All right. So when the children of Israel would see the chariots, we would, pray and be in the spiritual mindset, or in awe of what they were seeing. But for the most part, called Foo Fighters. They were called Foo Fighters. The military took the sightings seriously, suspecting that the mysterious sightings may be secret German weapons. That's not true. All right, they weren't German weapons. So I want to read this. Where was it at? In its January 5th, 1945 edition, Time magazine carried a story entitled Foo Fighter, in which it reported that the balls of fire had been following USA Air Force night fighters for over a month. All right. So, I think with Antiochus, what did it say? All right. See right there, it says, and it happened. And then it happened that through all the city for the space of almost 40 days. All right. So that was like a month and a few days. All right. So it says here, for over a month, it was following them, the chariots. All right. And that the pilots had named it the Foo Fighter. See that? It says the descriptions of the phenomenon varied, but the pilots agreed that the mysterious lights followed their aircraft closely at high speeds. And that's dangerous if you're in the aircraft. But the Chariots was doing that, like, that's all you got. The balls of fire, so the Chariots of fire phenomenon reported from the Pacific Theater of Operations differed somewhat from the Foo Fighters reported from Europe. The ball of fire resembled a large burning sphere which just hung in the sky, though it was reported to sometimes follow aircraft, so it would follow those aircraft. All right. So, because Yahweh Shai is the captain of the seas, man. I did a lesson on that. He's the captain, all right, of the sea, of the Shemayim, of the skies. Those are his skies, man. All right, under Yahweh. There was speculation that the phenomenon could be related to the Japanese fire, whatever. So now let's get down to some sightings that happened. All right. Just kind of read through these real quick, get a couple scriptures and wrap this up. So it says sightings. Foo Fighters were reported on many occasions from around the world. A few examples are noted below. All right. How many they got? I'm going to just read these 3. Sighting from September 1941. All right. In the Indian Ocean was similar to some later Foo Fighter reports from the deck of SS Pulaski, a Polish merchant vessel transporting British troops. Two sailors reported a strange globe glowing with greenish lights this time. All right, you know, green, that represents Yahweh Shai's sapphire, right? Chariots. All right. And even Yahweh, his throne is emerald. All right. And Yahweh Shai has a fleet of chariots that match his garment, the beryl, or greenish. It says greenish light about half the size of the moon as it appears to us. They alerted a British officer who watched the movements of the object with them for over an hour, man. All right. Now you have Ezekiel chapter 1. If you look in the playlist, I did a lesson on it. You know, if you want to get caught up on it, if you don't already know. But Ezekiel chapter 1 and 15, or prior to this in the chapter, you have an amber fleet of chariots that showed up, like you see in the pictures of World War II, or it look like bronze or some type of metal object, metal material, metallic. But then you have glowing, bright amber colors, green, bluish, sapphires, right? Reddish. It says, and it's just crazy because the Gadites, they would use red to represent war. All right. The appearance of the wheels, 15, I'm going to just read. Ezekiel 1 and 15. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. All right. So now there was a new fleet of chariots that showed up, and they had a leader, and he was linking up with these other angels. And this angel here had his own chariot. This was Yahushua. All right. And he set his chariot upon the earth, but they don't sit on the earth, but you know, they was just hovering. And it says, and the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl. And if you read in Revelations, it says his garment was the color of beryl. And they 4 had one likeness in their appearance, and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. All right, not a wheel going upward and one going sideways like a cross. It's just a wheel. If you lay 2 circles flat down on the ground, you know, not saying it's flat, but I'm talking about just give you a visual of the wheel within the wheel, visual. All right, you have different forms of beryl. And you see right here, man, green. All right, green, yellow, red. These are the colors that it was talking about. You see that? So, it says beryl. All right, so that's the color the chariots were. Those are the lights that it was giving off. And you have another one here that look like amber, just like the scriptures say. All right. That's how the chariots look. All right. I'm gonna read the next one. It says, Charles R. Bastian of the U.S. 8th Air Force reported one of the first encounters with the Foo Fighters over Belgium, Netherlands area. He described them as two fog lights flying at high rates of speed that could change direction rapidly. So they could change direction without turning. That's scriptural. They could change direction with no problem, man. All right. During the briefing, his intelligence officer told him that two RAF night fighters had reported the same thing, and it was later reported in British newspapers. So he said what? They could change direction rapidly. All right. This is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 17. Well, go down one more verse. When they went, all right, so when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went, man. All right, so and that's just it, man. They don't need to turn like you'll see an airplane make a hard right or a hard left, like a jet. These things will shoot to the right, shoot to the left, shoot up, diagonal, whichever direction they wanted to go, like it's swimming in water, like a fish or like a jellyfish. All right, or even more graceful than that. All right, like a shooting star, man. It can change direction when it wants to. All right. It says, as for their rings, they were so high, so the windows of the chariot, that they were dreadful, meaning very high up there, man, intimidating, just like the firmament. And their rings were full of eyes round about. So they had rings on it. All right, the wheel within the wheel, but then it had levels to it. This was a big chariot. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. So whatever the angels would move, the chariots would move with them. Just like in that day, in the kingdom, you're going to have a chariot. It's going to be like your car. You're going to park it outside your house or right near you instead of having it in the garage. All right. Protecting it from people stealing it and all that. All right. So sort of like that. What's that show called? I used to watch when I was younger. Dragon Ball Z, where they had Goku, he had the cloud, he'd ride up on the cloud would follow him, Nimbus cloud. All right. So that's just like these chariots, the clouds, all right? So, and it says what? They turned not when they went, man. And it says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. All right. So wherever these angels would go, the fleet of angels that was with them would follow, and you had two that stayed up with, four that stayed up, and four that followed the main angels. All right, or 2, 4, 6, 8. So it was 8 that followed the 4 angels, and 8 that went upward. Watching the skies. As it says, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went. Thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, meaning next to them or near them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels, man. So the spirit of the angels through Yahweh Shem Shai is in them chariots. All right. So you're gonna be able to control the vehicle. It's gonna be connected spiritually. Not like Esau trying to do with the chip and connect you to your damn car. All right. So all these people had biblical experiences with these chariots, man. He said it would change direction rapidly. He said turn not when it went. It was like lightning. All right. All right. Last one. It says career U.S. Air Force pilot Dwayne Adams often related that he had witnessed two occurrences of a bright light which paced his aircraft for about half an hour and then rapidly ascended into the sky. Both incidences occurred at night, both over the Pacific, and both were witnessed by the entire aircraft crew. The first sighting occurred shortly after the end of World War II. So shortly after the end of World War II, that's when the Chariots was showing up. All right. While Adams piloted a B-25 bomber, the second sighting occurred in the early 1960s when Adams was piloting a KC-135 tanker. So it says it rapidly ascended into the sky, man.
There's a new video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. The video is said to be taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. There you see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing. Those clips have gone viral now.
All right. See that? Shot up into the sky. I said, what? Here you go. Right here. It says, two occurrences of a bright light which paced his aircraft for about half an hour and then rapidly ascended into the sky. All right, I'm going to end it with this. Psalm 68:17. The chariots of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai are 20,000, even thousands of angels. So they got thousands of angels that they showing up with, man. You know, just like Esau got their jets and their bombers, the Lord got his forms of that, man. These chariots, these smaller chariots, and he got giant chariots, man. All right, that you can't even imagine. The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000. He had pillars, chariots, saucers, whatever you want to call them. Even thousands of angels. And the Lord is among them. Yahushua is among them. As in Sinai in the holy place. See, the same way back then, it's going to be that way now. All right, but he coming in his glory, being glorified now. And he's going to be what? The Ah and the Tha, the Alpha and the Omega. And you're going to have the angels in the beginning, the angels at the end to deliver the hopeful elect out of World War III. All right, the same way they showed up in World War II for recon, you know, for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and to bring about his will. Now they're going to show up to bring about his will to deliver the hopeful elect.